Vaishnava is therefore very much aggrieved by the sufferings of others. As such, a Vaishnava engages in activities for the real welfare of human society. In the next verse, as you all know, this is the beginning of the 10th canto. And this verse is as follows. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord, except the butcher, the one who is killing his own self? Prabhupada writes, in India it is the practice among the general populace to hear about Krishna, either from Bhagavad Gita or from Srimad Bhagavatam, in order to gain relief from the disease of repeated birth. And the third verse for today's consideration is probably not in this one, but it's in which our translators have given this way. The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your Atman, whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly, those who spread the message of God are most universal. Purport King Prataparuja recited this verse to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra festival. While the Lord was resting in the garden, King Prataparuja humbly entered and began massaging his legs and rose his feet. Then the king recited the 31st chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Songs of the Gopis. The Chaitanya Charitamrita relates that when Lord Chaitanya heard this verse, beginning with Katam, he immediately arose in ecstatic love and embraced King Prataparudra. The incident is described in detail in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 14, 4-18, and in his edition, Srila Prabhupada has given an extensive commentary. These three verses I felt were representative of the mood of today's Sankirtan. We consider that the gopis had themselves spoken about the broadcast of the glories of the Lord, and in their talk, in their verse, they say that such talk is like nectar. Amritam literally means that which brings you to life, or brings you back to life. Amritam. Mritu means death. And in the Sri Upanishad, we understand Suryanamate Lokanamhina Tansaka Tanste Pritya Ishtanti Eki Chatmanamojana. There's a phrase there, the soul is killed. Obviously, the soul is not literally killed. It's just like somebody has some catastrophe in their life and they say, I'm dead. That's the meaning that, for all intents and purposes, my normal life is finished. Something like that. So it says Atmaha, it's killed. Like you're killed, you've killed yourself and your whole purpose to life. So Tavakatamritam, what brings the soul back to life? It's the messages of Godhead. In fact, restorative speech is there in Ayur Harati Vaipumsam Udyan Astan Charyanasao Tasyarte Yakshano Nita Uttama Shloka Vartmane. Shukadeva Goswami says at the outset of the Srimad Bhagavatam that for everyone's losing his or her life because the sun's rising and setting, and it's talking to us as it goes over, saying, I'm taking away your life. That's one less day you have. And of course, Lord Chaitanya is saying, Jeev Jambo, come on, wake up. You're going to blow it. And this is the message that the Bhagavatam gives, that if you don't hear about Krishna, then the sun is killing you. And if you hear about it, then you're restoring your life. You're making an investment. So tavakatamritam tapta jivanam. It means the scorched jivas who are being burned. Tapta. The tapta jivanam, those living beings who are just being subjected to the burning of the material world, as we samsaradava nadalita loka. Poetically, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this world's like a huge forest fire you're caught in. You're being burned. Meanwhile, house is burning down, some will just move to the other room and let's have a snack. The only solution is to have the water of mercy poured down to put out the fire. Kavibir iditam kalamashapaham. So the great kavis, those who are highly intelligent, learned, they worship this sound vibration, kalamashapaham, because it removes all the impurities from the heart, which waylay our happiness and our progress in life. Kavibir iditam. Shravana Mangalam. It's so auspicious. If you're anywhere and talking about Krishna, then anyone who hears it, Vasudeva Kata Prashna, Purusham Strin Punatihi, Vaktaram Prachakam Shrotims, Tatpada Salilam Yata. This is something noted in this section of the Bhagavatam also. Oh, this is so wonderful. Well, first of all, it says, Naishati Dusahashan Man Tyaktodam Apipadate Piban Tam Tvam Kambuja Chutam Harikatamritam. Parikshit Maharaj remembers that he lost his temper. That's why he's in this position. Hey, one time you lose your temper and then all of a sudden you're cursed to die. And he's saying, I was hungry, I was thirsty, and I just wanted a drink of water. I became so angry at the sage, Shamika Rishi, that hung a snake around. Road rage, basically, and then you're going to jail. And death penalty. And so he says, he's remembering that, and he's saying, now I'm not hungry, or thirsty, or tired, and I'm not eating, I'm not drinking, I'm not sleeping, but what am I? Chutam harikatamritam, I'm drinking the nectar that's falling from your mouth. It's restoring me, I feel enlivened. And Vasudeva Kata Prashna, Purusham Strin Punatihi. Vaktaram Prachakam Shrotims Para Salilam Yata means that everyone gets benefit from this. Who gets? The speaker gets the most benefit, according to our acharyas. Second, the listener. And third, everybody else in between who just happens to hear something of it, walks by, hears a Hare Krishna, what was that? They get benefited also. And so, Kavibir iditam kalamashapaham shravana mangalam, it's so auspicious. Srimad Atatam, this bestows all benediction upon the souls. Srimad Atatam, what is it? Bhuvi Gurnantiye. So it says it means the earth, but it means everywhere. Anywhere there's a place. Buddhidajana. Buddhida. Those who are giving this, they're the most magnanimous. And as is mentioned here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of all the verses in the Gopi Gita, he was appreciating Maharaj Prataparuja's recitation of that. But as soon as he heard that first, that's when he stood up. And then he said to Maharaj Prataparuja, "You are the most magnificent. You are the most magnificent. You're giving me such valuable things." And he embraced the king. And he appreciated that verse. Just think, the gopis, they're the highest. And they're thinking of Sankirtan. They're thinking of the distribution. And they're thinking of those who do this, who go out like all of you are doing. They're the most magnificent. How could you be in a better position than, Prabhupada said, simple boy from farmland in the middle of America, Idaho pick, and a war zone overseas. So he volunteers, joins the army. He would have been a farm boy his whole life. Nobody would have ever known about him, but they sent him to the front lines, infantry. And he does some heroic act. He saves 3 people during a heated battle, and then comes home, all over the newspaper, all over America, famous. There's his picture. That's the guy. He did it. Prabhupada said to his disciples, he said, all of you are like that. You're born in obscurity, spiritually speaking or materially. And you've joined this process of Sankirtan. Now become famous everywhere. This is real fame. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking to Ramananda Roy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is famous? Only the devotees famous. And amongst the devotees, who's the most famous? Those Buddhidajana, those who are distributing it to other people, they're the best. So we then have in the Srimad Bhagavatam this opening statement for the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Nivrittatar Shurapagiyamanas Bhavausharash Chotra Mano Virama Ka Uttama Shloka Gananavada Puman Virajeta Vina Pashugnat. Who wouldn't take this except for if you're an animal killer or killing yourself? Same concept. You're dead to the world. You're dead to what your self-interest is. And then, very importantly, he says, Bhavaushati. Aushati means medicine. And Bhava means this material world. Literally, it means the world that's always morphing into something else. We can never quite get our hands on it. It's always changing as we're grasping for it. It says, Nivrittatar Sharupagiyamanas Bhavaushadats Chotra Mano Virama. And you can take this medicine through the ear, and then it goes to the heart, and then it's the remedy for Bhava Ashauti. And so this is the highest service, not hype, not saying, rah, 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 everybody get out there, let's make money. No, the compassion for others, as Damayanti pointed out this morning. We went, a few of us, on a walk, and she said, I noticed during the walk that the devotees were jostling from back and forth because they didn't want to step on any bugs. She remembered Jad Bharat, wouldn't step on any bugs. Devotees feel for other living beings, and to go and give a remedy, besides just not stepping on bugs, what to speak of human beings who are fully capable of appreciating this dialogue, if they just wake up, then you've done the greatest service. And in the 87th chapter of the Bhagavatam, 10th canto, Prayers Personified Vedas, Prabhupada comments in the Krishna book, in his commentary on that chapter, that the most magnificent of all of the Lord's pastimes, the Lord has many pastimes, the best of all of them is his rescuing the living entities from the material world. Now, if you help him in that, what is your position? And you may think, oh, I'm nobody. Fine, but you are now, because Prabhupada said, kindly help me. And if you take it up and you feel, I'm fortunate, why shouldn't I make other people fortunate? I have medicine, why shouldn't I distribute the medicine? Then this is the heart of the Sankirtan movement. And this is high sadhana. Tapyante lokatapena. Sarava prayasojana parama arananantanti purusha sakilatmana. That's a comment that Shukadeva Goswami makes about Lord Shiva. You know, during the pastime in the 8th canto, when Shiva sees the universe is going to be destroyed by the poison, hala hala, that's coming out of the churning of the milk ocean, he goes, for the sake of all living beings, and he drinks it, so no one would be poisoned. And then Shukadeva said, see, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambho. He's the greatest of Vaishnavas. What do Vaishnavas do? They try to save others. That's the whole purpose. Not to go to a cave, and not to claim some exclusive right, not to sequester oneself while everyone else is suffering, but to go out to Kensington Market and Bloor and Spadina and Dufferin Mall and the old beat-up county courthouse or whatever that place is. And wherever people are, that's where we want to be. And they're hapless. They're walking along, dum-dee-dum-dee-dum. They have, I don't want to criticize anybody, but I'm in the same boat. We're all in the same boat in the material world, but Lord Chaitanya saved that. Srila Prabhupada made sure of it tirelessly, that everyone would have a shot at this everywhere in the world in every language. So we're so lucky. We have the opportunity to carry it forward. Look around. This is who's come. Even with a chance of being the first 20 people to win something, this is who's come. So look at your brethren here who has made a stand and say, I'm going to go out and be a part of this, to give the medicine to the people of Toronto. So thank you very much, everyone. And I have no more minutes. And I'm very grateful that we have now an opportunity to hear some practical points about distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. We're specifically highlighting two devotees, Malini Devi Dasi and Anupam. They both come from different backgrounds, but they both have a vital interest in book distribution and selling sets of Srimad Bhagavatams. So we're going to invite them to come up here and start talking in a practical manner. We talked yesterday about legacy, but today they're going to tell you the brass tacks, how you actually present the Bhagavatam and get a donation for it, and etc., etc. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. I hope those first 20 people feel satisfied that you got here and you'll win valuable prizes. And please give a warm welcome to Malini Devi Dasi and Anupam Das.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all for coming, and very grateful for this opportunity to share some practices that we have been following with all of you. Before I start, I just wanted to mention that everything that you see in the slides and anything that we speak, whatever we say, this is all what we learned from His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. And we're just trying to follow in his footsteps and share it with a larger audience. So, yesterday Prabhu mentioned in his class about prayer. Oh, but before I start, I also wanted to mention that I'm also very, very fortunate to have Anupam Prabhu here. Today we'll be presenting on how to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam sets for two different sets of audiences. One is to those who actually are familiar with Indian culture and tradition, or maybe Indians or maybe others too. And Anupam Prabhu, who is expert at distributing to non-traditional audiences, he's going to add nuances at at different places wherever he thinks it's fit. So it's a combined presentation. And I don't know if you've seen the video that Anupam Prabhu made about how to sell Srimad Bhagavatams. It works. And we're just trying to do that in a way where it is applicable to any audience today. So there are three main steps that we follow for distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. One is, you want to say it?
Pray.
Pray very hard. And second thing is display. And third is relay. You will get some bookmarks as well, where you can practice this while you're going in the car. But only three things: pray, display, and relay. And the first step, pray. It is mentioned, this is also one of the 4 laws of book distribution, that is that the sadhana must be strong, strict, serious, and sincere sadhana. Over the years, what we noticed that we don't distribute Srimad Bhagavatam based on your expertise in reciting shlokas or the content that you know about Srimad Bhagavatam, nor the eloquence in your speech. The only way you can distribute Srimad Bhagavatam is by your sincere prayer and desire. We pray to Lord Chaitanya really, really hard, saying that, please engage me in your service. Please allow me to distribute Srimad Bhagavatams. That's the only way. And if you have this first step right, then anybody can distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, one little example of that is of Shukadev Goswami. You may see people out there who may seem determined not to hear anything from the Vedas or to hear what Vyasadeva has to say, but no one was more determined to not listen to Vyasadeva than Shukadev Goswami, who spent so much time in the womb and then went immediately to the forest afterwards. But because Vyasadeva himself was tasting the nectar of the Bhagavatam, his words, even though simple and not intricate in any way, were effective. And just by reciting one verse that he himself was feeling the effects of, then Shukadev Goswami was forced to turn around and hear the Bhagavatam. So in the same way, if we could find that one molecule of inspiration, of taste in our sadhana and our chanting and our hearing, we'll see that what we have to say is effective, even if it's not some catchy sales pitch or whatever. If we have that sweetness that's coming from the Bhagavatam and passing through us, then we'll see that people are affected by that, for sure.
And pray to act as instruments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mentioned this before, but His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu came to ISV and I asked him, can you give us some inspiration to go on book distribution? So he deeply thought for a couple of seconds and then said, just be a conductor. And I was wondering, what is this conductor? And then he mentioned that if you actually try to be an instrument in Krishna's instrument to carry over Krishna's mercy, then Krishna's mercy will flow through you directly to the recipient. And if you think that I'm the doer, I'm doing something, then you block it. So that's why I said, don't be a semiconductor, don't be an insulator, but just be conductor. So just purely be an instrument of Krishna's mercy, and that mercy will flow through to the recipient. And meditate constantly how to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam sets. So it's not that only when you go on the field you're distributing, but you're constantly thinking of distributing Bhagavatam sets, or the entire world is an opportunity. Wherever you go, whether you are you're at the workplace, there's an opportunity. If you want to, you can speak to. If you're in a flight, you can speak to someone next to you and distribute a Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, we did that when we were going from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan. Yes, Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan. And we had a group of like about 30-40 devotees in the flight, and someone sitting next to Hare Krishna. Someone sitting next to us was a very nice, inquisitive gentleman. So he started asking, who are you all guys wearing tilak and all these clothes with bead bags in the flight? And then we started the conversation. And at the end of the conversation, he said, can you ship me a Srimad Bhagavatam to my home? So it's a constant meditation. Say something.
If it's at the forefront of our mind, we'll see nothing but opportunities. Just like a businessman, someone who's Vaishya. They look around, they see, oh, someone could be making more money there, we could be making money off this, off that. In the same way, if that's our disposition, if we have this desire to distribute Srimad Bhagavatams, then we'll see unlimited opportunities in front of us, and Krishna will help us to take advantage of them. Sure.
And the next principle, what we talked about, is display. Any table that you have at the corner of the street, display a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you have a temple here, just you see outside. I saw multiple displays of Srimad Bhagavatam here in Toronto, very beautiful displays. And if you have a home, put Bhagavatam in your front room where any of your guests comes, they can see Srimad Bhagavatam. If you're out on the street, in front of a store, if you have a small table, you can stack up the full set of Srimad Bhagavatam also. So wherever you can display, the more you show, the more you sell. This is also one of the 4 laws of book distribution.
The Bhagavatam is so attractive, it's so beautiful, actually, and so it acts as sort of like a magnet when you have it there on the table. People become interested in what it is. And in the most recent Bhagavatam distribution we did, I didn't have a full set on me. Somehow there was a mix-up with the person I was going to get it from. So I just took a couple books from my own personal set that had flags sticking out of them, and the cover was a little ripped, here and there. But it was just as effective as a new one. So don't underestimate the power of the books themselves, which Prabhupada said are just like deities. You could offer a bhoga to them.
The next is relay. And if you see on the right, the Prabhu that is standing, he's Achyuta Kumar Prabhu that we talked about yesterday, who got a set of Srimad Bhagavatam, and now one of the biggest book distributors. That's Achyuta Kumar Prabhu distributing a Bhagavatam set to someone. And this relay has multiple things in there. We are going to talk about a few concepts in the beginning about Srimad Bhagavatam distribution, and then we'll go to how to present it to someone. First is test for ripe fruits. As for any books, Bhagavad Gita also, we pick only the ripe fruits. So picking the ripe fruits is very important. When you go to a store, when you say, "Hi, Hare Krishna," and they don't look at you, then is it a ripe fruit or unripe fruit? Not ripe. Are we going to pull them in, follow them to the car? We just let them go. We are only looking for ripe fruits. The reason is we had this tested earlier. People who were not ripe, who were really not interested, we tried to persuade them. We are not there to convince, we are just there to present, as Vaisheshika Prabhu says. So we just let them go, and we found that there were so many other interested souls who came later. And if we only focused on that one person who was not interested, we lost that other person. So we only focus on those who are ready, who are ripe, who are very friendly, who wants to come to the book table and talk about it. So we are only looking for those kind of people. And if you go door to door, which is also another venue, but today, I don't know if we are going door to door, but if that was a venue, then when you knock the door, somebody opens the door. Oh, hi, come on in, please, come take a seat. That's a super ripe soul. so pick only the ripe souls, because we don't want to convince anybody. We just want to present. So whoever is eager to listen to, we are just only presenting to them.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard, but it's actually the golden age right now, Lord Chaitanya. So that means there's a whole lot of ripe fruits out there, believe it or not. So it's our job to parse through all of them and find the ripe ones, and we'll find a lot of success in doing that. And you can think of ourselves. At some point, we were just like any other person we might meet today walking down the street. And we had that spark in us, but it was just lying a bit dormant. But by the mercy of a devotee, then it could be fanned and turned into something where someone might be crazy enough to go out and share Bhagavatam themselves one day. So it's a lot of fun finding the ripe fruits, and you'll find it's a lot easier than you might expect, because if you ever try to get 10 no's in a row, you'll find that you just can't do it. So don't be discouraged by a couple unripe fruits that you may encounter, because it's just a matter of time before you find the ripe one. They're on their way.
And make friends, especially for Bhagavatam distribution, because it's not a quick one. I mean, not as quick as Bhagavad Gita. It's good first to make friends, because if their heart is closed, if you start with the presentation right away, it doesn't go in. But if you make friends, then it opens their heart, and at least they will listen to your presentation with little more attention. So we are not presenting them right away about Srimad Bhagavatam, but we first make friends. And then say, how are you? I usually open by saying that, oh, I'm Malini, I'm coming from this particular yoga center, or if it's an Indian, they understand the temple, I say, I'm coming from ISKCON Silicon Valley Temple. And sometimes I also mention where I work, just in case they're wondering if I'm here just to take their money or something. I just say, I work in such and such company. Where are you from? I just make friends with that statement. And sometimes I also mention, oh, I'm here for a cause. And everybody wants to know, oh, what are you trying to do here? So just making friends first is important before you present Srimad Bhagavatam, or any book for that matter.
This is an absolutely essential point, and it often is the difference between actually giving a book to somebody and then not taking it. You'll find that almost nobody out there really wants to hear any philosophy from you in general. People are used to being talked down to or made to feel less than, but everybody is looking for affection. And if we could provide that in our eyes and in our speech, in the way that we're coming off to a person, they'll see something extremely valuable in that. Ultimately, we're not necessarily even selling the book, but we're selling ourselves. And if we could present ourselves in such a way that we're not looking to extract anything from anybody, but we're looking to be a giver, then we'll find an incredibly positive response from that. In that regard, I'm reminded again of Shukadeva Goswami. Vyasadeva didn't start telling him, you're not the body, and actually, Bhagavan is the highest realization. He just said, think of how incredible, how beautiful the loving exchange is between Krishna and his devotees. He led with that love. He was feeling that affection, that sweetness in his heart. He shared it, and it conveyed the message effectively. So the last thing we want to do is stop someone and immediately start giving a Bhagavatam class. about how you're not the body and talk about karma and all of that. If we could just make a genuine connection with somebody, show that we are here in their best interest and we want them to be happy, sincerely. People are sensitive and they'll pick up on that and they'll respond in kind.
Yeah, make them feel special. Anybody who stops at the book table are special. You don't have to, there's no doubt about it, because out of millions of people who are wandering in this world, how many people will stop at the book table to look at the books? Not many, right? So whoever stops, they are special. And we have to appreciate for their time, if nothing. The least we can do is, thank you so much for stopping by. We need more people like you in this world. You look spiritual. What's your secret? Like His Grace Vaisheshik Prabhu tells about this in his Bhagavad Gita presentation. Whatever you think, you can actually compliment those people. And if they are stopping at the table to look at Srimad Bhagavatam, it is definitely a divine arrangement. And we should appreciate the fact that they are there at the table. So please make them feel special.
Yeah, you can make it fun too. Just pick anything about them that you feel like you could sincerely compliment. I was out with Gopal Champu the other week, and there was this lady who had a Buddha necklace on. And he said, "Oh my God, Anupam, look, she's got the Buddha necklace." We're obviously within an earshot of her. So she immediately felt, oh yeah, I do have the Buddha necklace. Thank you for appreciating. There was this sense of like, thank you for noticing me, kind of thing. And so we could do that with almost anything. A person. Sometimes if someone's wearing like a special hat, I'll be like, I've been waiting to see someone who was wearing this hat all day. You're the perfect person for this. You could just get loose, get funny, and get fun. And people will pick up on that. People don't want to be assailed by a salesman. They want to have a fun, interesting, interactive exchange with somebody. So you could make them feel special in a fun and easy and genuine way. And you'll see that they respond, because ultimately that's what everyone's looking for. They want to feel seen and appreciated. So be that person for them today, and it'll be very effective.
If they're from Indian origin, I usually like to ask, what's your name? And then they say, whatever name that is. And they say, wow, it looks really special. What does it mean? Many people don't know what it means, but some people do. And I say, wow, you must be coming from very good family, very good, like high parentage, and they feel so happy. Someone I was talking to, they had a small boy, and boy's name was Srivatsa. I was like, wow, Srivatsa, you are a mark on Lord Vishnu's chest. Did you know? And the boy was looking as I didn't know anything. But it's a good conversation, especially if you're speaking to anyone Indian, asking their names, oh, what does it mean? So it's a conversation. They just now are open to listen to your rest of the presentation. And we start always asking, do you have a Srimad Bhagavatam set? Because we have other books too, like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book, Science of Self-Realization and other. But if our goal is to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam, we start with this question first, rather than presenting other books. So His Grace Vaisheshik Prabhu was sharing this story about Vijay Prabhu. At one of the Rath Yatras in Los Angeles, he was determined to distribute a Srimad Bhagavatam set at the Rath Yatra, and he had the full set displayed on the table. And Vaisheshik Prabhu thought that, how are you going to distribute a Bhagavatam set here at the Rath Yatra? And then Vijay Prabhu, every person he saw him, the first question, do you have a set of Srimad Bhagavatam? He would start like that. And it went on and on and on. And after some time, Prabhu noticed that the set was gone. So he asked Vijay Prabhu, what happened? He said, oh, somebody said they didn't have and they took one Srimad Bhagavatam. So we start with the question, do you have a set of Srimad Bhagavatam? And that's what we also ask. Have you heard about Srimad Bhagavatam? Do you have a set of Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah, this is also a great thing to even lead with, on a practical level. It's called assuming the sale in sales, where you kind of make the person think, oh, I should have this. Maybe I'm missing out on something. And so by doing that, it creates this nice little opening where they might think, well, what is a Srimad Bhagavatam set? You can say, oh, you don't have it? I mean, this is the original spiritual wisdom of India. So many great scholars and sages have read it and appreciated it over the years. And actually, it's understood that every respectable gentleman should have a set of Srimad Bhagavatam in their home for their ultimate spiritual and even material advancement. So don't be afraid to be a little bit assuming when it comes to the presentation. You could say, hey, did you get this already? Do you already have the Bhagavatam set? And create a sense of need or a sense of lacking that you can then fulfill with the set.
And a couple of principles here. When we are presenting Srimad Bhagavatam to people, when you start presenting this, and if you go through the full presentation, including the donation, it's already a success. So success is not that whether you distribute a set that the person takes or not, but your presentation until the part you ask for a donation, that's if you're doing that part, it's already a success. And we are just sowing the seeds in people's minds because it's a 18 volume. It's not a small endeavor. So people may not immediately take sometimes, but still we are sowing the seeds. There is a devotee in New Jersey. I always give this example that he is from IIT India. It's a very prestigious university. What he did was during COVID or after COVID, he called every single member in his class and talked to them about Srimad Bhagavatam. And I was wondering, I think he had very little success of people who took, but he did talk about Srimad Bhagavatam and he just sowed all the seeds in their minds. And one of them happened to be in Bay Area, California. So we went door to door and we knocked his door, not knowing that this is the same person. And the person opened the door and then we started talking about Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, yeah, my friend called me a couple of years ago. He told me about Srimad Bhagavatam, but I didn't take it at that time. But now I will take it. So even if you're not able to distribute at that time, you're actually sowing seeds for other devotees to come and distribute, because it may not happen in the first attempt, but other devotees will be able to do it. So feel free to sow as many seeds as possible.
Yes, yeah, and the active principle within those seeds is a favorable impression. That our main goal out there is just to make people feel special again, make them feel loved, help them feel affection. And even if they don't remember your name or your face, they'll remember the interaction. It'll go deep in their heart and it'll manifest, it'll sprout someday in a beautiful way.
And this is the one that His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj has mentioned, that Maharaj said that Krishna maintains a notebook. And the notebook has two sides of it, this left side and a right side. Left side is for the devotees who are presenting and distributing books, and the right side is the person, the recipient, who is trying to get a set. So as far as we are concerned, we are only concerned about the left side. If we do our best, and if we try to present the entire Bhagavatam and ask for a donation, Krishna actually puts a tick mark against our name. And we're going out for self-purification and to please Krishna. So our job is done. Whether the person on the other side, on the right-hand side, takes it or not, that is between Krishna and that person. So we don't have to worry about the other part. So the success when we go out to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam is if we are able to present, feel free, be bold. There is no need to be concerned if they will take or not. Just do your best in your presentation and be detached, because right side is not our problem, it is actually Krishna's problem to make sure that the person takes it. And just be happy. So we are only concerned about this part. Touching the pavement, if you like, you can do best in making a presentation, and that's it, we are done. And another thing in this regard is that even if you are not able to present, go with the experts and just watch them. I remember that many years ago, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu used to go out on book distribution. In initial days, I used to just go and watch him, you know. I used to say, someday I'll be able to distribute like Prabhu. And I still don't like that, Prabhu, but I really like to watch how Prabhu distributes, and I try to make notes and everything. So it was so much fun. Even now, I would love to watch Prabhu distribute books, but so many devotees are around, I don't get to watch Prabhu so much. But even if you go out, if somebody is distributing Bhagavatam sets or books, if you're not very confident, just watch them for some time, make notes, and then try it out whenever you get a chance. But even just going out and watching the devotees distribute, that's also good. So you don't have to be pressured to distribute a Bhagavatam set.
Thank you. Yeah, as we all know, this is very basic Bhagavad Gita, that we are entitled to our duty, but not to the fruits of our labor. And I'm reminded of a beautiful story of Guru Kripa Maharaj at the time, who was collecting so much Lakshmi for ISKCON Vrindavan. And he was putting so much effort into it that Prabhupada told him, because you're putting all of this work in to help build this temple, I've seen that Krishna is building you a house in Goloka Vrindavan. And so, in a similar vein, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that just by going out, even by getting rejected, what we're actually doing is developing chit rakta for our chit sharira. We're developing spiritual blood for our spiritual body. So it's a very beautiful and powerful activity. Even in the moment, it may feel occasionally discouraging or difficult. What we're actually doing is something incredibly powerful. And it is manifesting in an apparently unmanifest way, but in a very real way in the spiritual world as we develop our love for Krishna and our spiritual body itself.
Okay. I mean, this is similar like earning miles. The more you present Srimad Bhagavatam sets, the more the points that you accrue. And sometimes at the end, Krishna just sends someone and then they will take Srimad Bhagavatam. Sometimes stick around. In the beginning when you go for Bhagavatam distribution, you may not find anybody who takes Bhagavatam sometimes. But just wait patiently, because just seeing your endeavor, Krishna will send somebody. So that is the one here. We call it, devotees say, how is it going? Oh, it's all halal right now. It's only halal right now. So we have to wait for the nectar to come. So we have to be patient.
Yes. And you could even find some nectar in that process, in getting rejected. If instead of focusing on trying to get every single person you meet to take a book, you instead focus on trying to be loving to every person, try to leave every person with a favorable impression, you'll see there is a real sweetness in that as well. And people will naturally come as a result. So learn to love the process. There's a rapper named J. Cole who said in the song, there's beauty in the struggle. So we could find that beauty, even if it may at first seem difficult. There's a real sweetness and a real nectar to that process as well.
Now, for Westerners, how would you?
Sure. So a strategy I found effective with Westerners, the general principle behind it is that less is more. In that Westerners, especially if they have some kind of spiritual inclination, they often have some preconceived convictions as to what they believe in. Some people may believe in karma, some people may not believe in karma. Some people may believe in reincarnation, whereas others don't. And so, in general, what I found to be most effective is to present the Bhagavatam in a very universal way. And start with the most broad, basic, kind of all-encompassing principles like love, like spirituality, like spiritual enlightenment, getting free from stress. And as you get to know them in the interaction, you kind of see maybe what their leanings are. You can tailor it a bit more towards them personally. But if you lead with too much specifics, then you could very well turn somebody off just by one word that may rub somebody the wrong way. So keeping it broad and general and nice, you could mention the different people who have studied these types of literatures before. Keep it as universal and appealing, cast a wide net. to start. And then as you get to know the person, you can kind of winnow it down to them specifically.
Bhagavatam simplifies a complex philosophy, so you can mention something about it. And usually when I meet someone, if they're Indians, I ask them, where are you from? And they say that either they are from South India, from North India, whichever part. I ask, which part in North India? And they say, oh, I'm from Delhi. Oh, so close to Vrindavan, you know. And you must be so lucky. How many times did you visit Vrindavan? I said, oh, unfortunately, I didn't visit. Or they say, oh, I visit every Kartik or something like that. It's a conversation starter, and it really helps. And if you know their language, that's even better. One of our devotees, Sivakumar Prabhu, he's from Tamil Nadu. So we went. We were just distributing books, and he asked, "Oh, where are you from in India?" And he said, "Tamil Nadu." He said, "Me too. Where in Tamil Nadu?" "Chennai." He said, "Oh, me too. Where in Chennai?" "Adayar." "Oh, me too." Found out that they were actually 2 houses apart. And they were able to connect so nicely. And once the connection is made, then the message is just a formality, because they're already sold out because they just wanted to connect with you, and you are so happy and you look so spiritual. They just wanted to be like you. So they will take the Srimad Bhagavatam. But that connection that you make initially, that is the most critical part in distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. Want to say anything?
Yeah, and for Westerners, and you could connect with them if anybody has ever dabbled in football or basketball, the forbidden arts, as we call them here, then you may happen to know somehow or other that perhaps the Bears are the team for Chicago, or the Pacers are from Indiana. Don't ask me how I know this stuff. But if you could connect with them on some level there, you'll find that people have an emotional connection to where they're from. And so if you could just say one little choice word that references something about where they're from, then you'll find that they open up to you, for sure.
If you speak in local languages, it's even better. That Sivakumar Prabhu example I was giving, when he said Chennai, he immediately started in Tamil, you know. And then the person was so happy speaking in Tamil. And if you know, even if you don't know language, for example, if you don't know how to speak Spanish, there are a few lines that you can learn. Hola, ¿qué tal? Muy bien. Es bueno libro de Dios, es yoga, no se vende, todos personas pedimos una ayuda, un poquito donación, por favor. Like that. We all learned this from Vaisheshika Prabhu, like we had some cards. We just learn a few lines. It's not that hard, but as you go, because even if it might look funny when you speak their language, but they're very happy that you're trying. So even if you know a few words in a certain language, even in your regional languages, Tamil or Telugu or whatever, you just say a few words, they laugh at you, and it just starts a conversation. So
I'll just extrapolate a bit. So on a broader level too, there's a very powerful tool in sales called mirroring, and where you kind of adjust yourself, maybe the way you're speaking, even your posture, to kind of match what they're giving off. And so in terms of language, everybody is speaking in a certain way, and you can kind of match their vibe a bit more, and you'll see that that also opens them up. For example, if somebody's coming very loud, very boisterous, very excited, enthusiastic, you can match that enthusiasm and kind of let it build up. Whereas if somebody is more kind of quiet and solemn, you know, and more kind to themselves, if you come from like a, you know, way up here level, you'll find that they just kind of get a little even quieter and then walk away. So find out what their language is on an internal, kind of intrinsic level as well. And if you can match that up, you'll see that it has good results.
I mean, I really like this to glorify local saints if they are from India, because they are very connected to some sampradaya or some kind of attachment to some sampradaya. So I usually say about, if they're from Tamil Nadu, I say, Ramanujacharya. And if it is Maharashtra, there is Tukaram, Sant Tukaram. And if it is North India, maybe if they know Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur or Jiva Goswami or Rupa Goswami, you can just mention any. And I also mentioned that in this case, Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya. Ramanujacharya was from South India. He walked all the way from South India all the way to Kashmir to get the commentary of Vedanta Sutra. He walked all the way. And we say he walked all the way to get a commentary. You have it right here. You don't have to walk very far to get a Srimad Bhagavatam. And they really appreciate it when you glorify the local saints, because Deha Patra Kalatradishu, everybody wants to be connected to their own place or own region or city or something like that.
And in connection with this is a big way to establish value too, which is really the key principle in selling the book. Is everyone's always going to be thinking, well, what's in it for me? And if you could show that these books have a connection to either regional saints or, from a Western perspective, people like Martin Luther King, the Beatles, Gandhi, Einstein, Tupac, Nelson Mandela, now Oppenheimer is a big name that you could throw around as well. And you'll see people respond to that, because otherwise it's kind of like, well, is this just your little niche thing that you got into and now you're trying to get me into this kind of little thing? You could say, no, so many really great, respected personalities have drawn a lot of inspiration and wisdom from these literatures, and now you yourself can do the same if you'd like to become effective and leave an impact on the world. So play on the ego a bit, if you can as well. Everybody wants to feel special, and you can make them feel special in that way as well by saying, well, these saints and these great personalities throughout history have all drawn inspiration from these texts, and now you have that same opportunity before you.
These are just different ideas. You don't have to say all of them. These are just giving you some ideas of what you can say and how to connect to people. So just pick whatever is, at least do at least one thing to connect with them. Okay, so that was just the principles, but then now we just start presentation after you connect with them, saying that we are doing this to preserve ancient knowledge and wisdom. Because as you know, there is Matsya Avatar here, and if you like, you can also say that this is a project called Go Matsya, where we're saving and preserving the Vedas here, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of Vedas. Just short, simple. Srimad Bhagavatam is essence of the Vedas, and we are trying to preserve this ancient knowledge. And we say that, and then we show them, first of all, they come to the table, so we show them one of the Bhagavatam cantos. We always hold one Bhagavatam canto with us, and then we show them, we put them in their hand, and then we show them. And here I like to show them that this was translated this was spoken 5,000 years ago, translated by Srila Prabhupada. And this copy, the paper that you see here, is supposed to last for 500 years. So at least 5 generations can make use of these books. And they immediately say, oh, really? And they touch the paper to see if it is. So this actually creates a value, not only that they have to read it, but they can also pass it to their next generations. What we found in Indians is that they wanted to do anything and everything for their children, but not for themselves. So if you create a value that this can be passed down for the next generation, they become really excited. And we also say that our campaign is that everyone should have a Srimad Bhagavatam in their home. And as Prabhupada says, that I want every respectable gentleman has full set of Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita in this home. And if you know any local languages, Indian languages, you can say that in your local language. I speak Telugu, I say our campaign is Intinta Bhagavatam, which means every house should have a Bhagavatam. And they get very excited that, their home can also have a Bhagavatam.
And this alludes to a greater point as well, in that if we're successful in presenting the Bhagavatam, especially to a Westerner, they should have the impression that this isn't some Hindu text or Buddhist text, but this is a universal text that anybody could read and appreciate and apply in their lives in a way that'll help them become successful in whatever that means to them, success. The Bhagavatam specifically is very cool because it kicks out all cheating philosophies. So it kicks out anything that would advocate for a kind of separatism, and it's all-encompassing. It's meant to be a shelter for the entire universe. And so by presenting it in this kind of way, in a kind of universal, spiritual way, it makes sense that every respectable person should have it in their home, because it's not some niche text, but it's an encyclopedia of universal wisdom that anybody and everybody everywhere all over the world can apply and see fantastic results. So we want to make it feel like this, like, yeah, every respectable person should have it in their home, because it's not just something for this faction or that faction, it's something that's for everybody.
And when we say that you should have this, and they say, I already have it. The first thing is, I already have it. And when they say, I already have it, they're actually talking about Bhagavad Gita. Everybody says, I already have it. Then I specifically ask them, do you have a Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam? And they say, oh, what's the difference? So that's when you get to explain how, I just generally say that Bhagavad Gita is a zip file. It has all the principles, and Srimad Bhagavatam is unzipped. So all the philosophy is expanded in the form of stories, which is easily understood.
Yeah, we've met a few people out there who have known about Bhagavad Gita, but not Srimad Bhagavatam, and I say something very much the same in that the Bhagavad Gita is a more broad sweeping stroke, and in the middle 6 chapters, then you get more of that essence of that loving relationship we're meant to develop with Krishna. And the Bhagavatam takes that essence and expands on it across 18 volumes. So that most essential message of the Bhagavad Gita is extrapolated on and presented in very specific examples and with very deep and extensive philosophy to bolster it.
And Bhagavatam has the examples of people who live the principles given in Bhagavad Gita. How to apply it, that is application. This is applied Bhagavad Gita, is Srimad Bhagavatam. And after this, if you can say something little about Srimad Bhagavatam according to your own realization, there is no, whatever appeals to you, a quick presentation. And here you can do, we have multiple ideas here listed, but you can say pick whichever one you want. I usually like to explain about the advent of Bhagavatam, how Bhagavatam came into picture, like how there were Vedas, originally Vyasadeva wrote, and then he wrote Puranas, Itihasas, Samhitas, Mahabharata. After writing everything, still he was not satisfied, and then his guru Narada Muni came and explained that the reason you're not satisfied is because you did not give directly about the absolute truth. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a direct presentation of the absolute truth. So just a few stories, this one, or you can talk about how Bhagavatam was spoken, how Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die in 7 days, and how Shukadeva Goswami came to explain the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we can say that we all have 7 days, right? And they'll say, what do you mean? Then we say, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We also have 7 days. We don't know which of the 7 days you're going to die. So we actually have only 7 days to live. So you can relate to that, stories in some way. And it has scientific aspects of it. One of our devotees is really, really scientific. He loves science. So he gets very excited to present the scientific aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam, the distance between the sun and the moon, the earth, how many speeds the sun rotates, and all these different aspects. So whichever one you're inspired, you can just speak the stories there. Sorry, to go back.
And I'll just say that all of these things can be couched in a way that's attractive for Westerners. Like one of the things I find myself saying about Bhagavatam often is that this is universal spiritual wisdom, just like what Jesus was teaching, just like what Buddha was teaching, but it was spoken to very advanced people. You could think about Jesus, the level of consciousness of his followers, that he had to emphasize, don't kill people, right? Because otherwise, probably kill somebody. And what do you know? They actually wound up killing him. So you could imagine, the level of consciousness, whereas the Bhagavatam was spoken to people who had already attained self-realization. These people had gathered, not for themselves, but for the sake of people and generations to follow, who they themselves would never even meet. But out of a sincere sense of compassion for them, they gathered together to perform this sacrifice and to hear without eating, without sleeping, for so many days, just for the sake of the benefit of people. So how much deeper could Shukadeva Goswami and Sutta Goswami go into that same spiritual wisdom? So it's a graduate study. It's a more refined essence of the same essence that's being conveyed across all of these different traditions.
And other thing is, kids love Srimad Bhagavatam. When I think at least maybe 15 to 20% of Bhagavatam sets that we distributed is because their kids wanted it. The parents were not so interested, but kids come running to the book table whenever we have a book table, and we show them the pictures that are there, and they're so fascinated by all these stories. And then we say, oh, your kid loves Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is true. It is true. And when the parents see that the kids like these kind of books, and then we say, why don't you take it? It actually builds strong foundation for your children, and it answers difficult questions. And we also give examples live examples of Dr. Ravi Gupta. We asked him, look him up on Wikipedia or something. His entire life was based on just reading Srimad Bhagavatam. He learned all his language arts, and at the age of 21, he finished his PhD from Oxford University. And they say, oh, really? I say, yeah, this is, if you can look up. And these live examples help them to understand that how Srimad Bhagavatam is important for their child's development. It's an overall development, not just only academic aspect of it. So this is, we always quote Radhika Raman Prabhu's example when we distribute with children. And after making all the presentation, we just close by saying that our goal is to distribute at least 100,000 Srimad Bhagavatam sets by September. And they say, really? And some people ask, how far along are you so far? And we tell them that, oh, we are halfway through, we still need a lot more help. And they say, oh, all the best. And some people give good wishes, even if they don't take, oh, all the best for your endeavor. And some people say, okay, I want to help. And so we say, please help preserve this Vedic knowledge. And please help preserve Sanatana Dharma. And some people, even though they may not be so much inclined to reading it right away, they like to preserve. And I think I mentioned this example that there was an atheist who came to our book table, and when I started presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, he said, don't waste your time, I'm an atheist. I don't want you to waste your time. And then his wife said, oh, but I'm not an atheist, I want to listen. And then she heard the presentation. The guy was just standing there, he didn't move from there. And the wife heard the presentation. He said, I really like it, but I'm not a big reader. I don't read so much. And the person said, then I said, we are preserving it. And the atheist said that, for preservation, I can help. He took the Srimad Bhagavatam, he gave $500 donation for the Bhagavatam that day. And so, people like to preserve, and we want to preserve this ancient knowledge, especially if it is going to last for 500 years, why not, right?
Yeah, and it's very easy now to juxtapose the wisdom and the clarity of the Bhagavatam with the modern world. So people have an inherent sense that the world is going downwards, perhaps, and things like subtlety and beauty and poetry are kind of on the decline in terms of their prominence in society. So you can touch on that point and mention about how if we don't do it, then what will the world look like, in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We're the resistance against the evil AI robots that are coming to take over the world. So we could make that a strong point in the sense that if you don't do it, then what'll happen?
So we close with that. We only have 5 minutes, so we'll just. The other thing is, when we make all this presentation, people say, okay, let me take one book. That's a very common question. And then we say, oh, it comes in a set. The entire Bhagavatam is the body of Krishna. First 2 cantos are his feet, 10th canto is face, so we can't break the set. And they understand, oh yeah, we can't break the set. And the most important thing is ask for a donation. Because remember, our presentation was till we ask for a donation. Only if you do that, then only Krishna makes a tick. So don't be afraid to ask a donation. And we keep it very simple. We just say that it costs us $250. In US, it costs $250, but here, Canada, it is $350, Canadian dollars to ship and print. Anything that you give over goes as a donation. Just very simple. And it's a spiritual investment. People buy cars, people buy houses to leave it for the next generation. Why not make this spiritual investment and get a Srimad Bhagavatam, which will last longer than your house, 500 years. So we just keep it simple. And we say it was a special offer. Normally it's 400 Canadian dollars. It's only 350 today. So we take MasterCard, Visa, American Express. You can tap. We accept Zelle or whatever payment methods they are. And we take installments also. And then just close it at that time.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask for a donation. Like Vaisheshika Prabhu was saying, I believe yesterday, it's not an obligation to give a donation. We can present it as an opportunity. And I remember one time I expressed to a mentor that I like presenting books to people, but when it comes to the donation part, I just kind of feel awkward about it. And he said, well, just tell them that. Just tell them, hey, I'm kind of new at this, and I feel a little awkward asking for a donation, but it's what we're supposed to do. And you'll see that people are disarmed by that. They're actually charmed by it. So there's a lot of power in just being ourselves and being honest, especially when it comes to the donation part. We don't have to force ourselves to feel like we need to force them to give something. If we ask in a humble way, we'll see people are affected by that.
And we can be straightforward, saying it costs us so much to ship and print. Anything over is a donation. It actually clears their mind, because when you say you can make any donation, they really don't know how much to give. And sometimes we can also ask, how much do you think it costs if you have to buy in a bookstore? One person told it would cost $1,000. And then I said, yeah, but we don't sell. And then, and we don't sell like a bookstore. When he said $1,000, you can give any donation, he gave $1,000 donation. He thought that would cost. So people give donation. We don't have to be afraid to ask. And some people give less. It's okay, because it covers up with the other person. So we don't have to be worried so much. They can give what comes from their heart. And collect the contacts of those people. It's very important. And connect them to local Bhakti community or Bhakti Vriksha or some other Bhakti Academy programs that you have here. Connect them. And then the most important thing is ask for referrals. This is important, especially when you're door to door. When we ask for referrals, people will come out of the door and point, go to apartment number 24, 36, 33, 31, and then some people even come along with us to come and introduce us to those people. So referrals are very important. And the most important thing, even if they don't take Srimad Bhagavatam set, you can give them Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book, or any other books, but most important, leave them with a good impression. And thank them for taking their time, especially a lot of time for them listening to your presentation. That's it? Okay. I think we are at time.
Hare Krishna. Let's hear it one more time for Her Grace Malini Devi Dasi and His Grace Anupam Prabhu. Thank you to Vaisheshika Prabhu, who has brought this beautiful world of book distribution to Toronto over the last several years, and by his mercy, by his guidance, we have many other gifts and fruits and flowers of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya coming to Toronto. Thank you so much, Malini Mataji and Anupam Prabhu. So now, for the rest of the day, actually before that, you may have some questions or reflections from the session. I'm going to give everybody 30 seconds to write it down so you don't forget. After breakfast, we're going to reconvene in the temple room, and you will have an opportunity to ask your questions. So please take 30 seconds to write it down so we don't forget. Okay. Thank you. The rest of the program, after this, we're going to have breakfast prasadam downstairs. After breakfast prasadam, everybody should reconvene here in the temple room at 9:40. We will have an opportunity to ask any questions at that time to Malini Mataji and Anupam Prabhu, and following which we will divide ourselves into a few groups and get the opportunity to practice how to distribute a set under the guidance of our expert distributors. 11:30, we want to leave the door. Okay? 11:30, we're going to take a group picture and then we're going to go out the door. Everybody, the books are going to be ready. Our team is working very hard on the logistics. So if you have not given us your information, but whether you need a ride, whether you have space in your car, please take the time before you go down to let Atmadarshini and Anupul Seva know. They're standing outside making the list for who is going where. The locations are going to be assigned. On the group, we have a poll of whether you want to go to a street location or you want to go store to store. Please indicate that. It's important to be organized so that all of us can have a beautiful experience and we can leave everybody else with a good impression as well. Also, we have a mission. We have a mission to go out today. That's the main thing. I understand that when we have prasadam, we can get diverted. There can be other things that come up, but please let's keep the main thing. We want to go out. We need a lot of help. It's a mission, like an army mission. We need help to pack books, move books, pack prasadam for the devotees who are going. So please take your prasadam quickly, come and help us so that we can all stay on time. Just remember, everybody, please remind other people also, we have a goal, we want to get out on time. This evening we will have the very famous bhajan night. So please, at 6 o'clock, that's when the bhajan night will start. We are also going to have a group picture before we head out. So make sure you're counted in that. And now, for the most important part. We promised that the first 20 people this morning will get a merch, and I believe there were more than 40 people here at 7:20. So the good news is that we will honor all of you, and we have a very sweet sticker that says, "Catch your Jaladuta," that will be offered to only those 40 people. That's okay. And yes, so today, when we head out, we have another trophy for the team that sends us the touch the pavement picture first. So when you go out, every team has a team leader. When you go out, you have to take a picture of your team touching the pavement, because that's our goal, to touch the pavement. Everything else is bonus. So you have to take a picture and post it on the group. And the team that does that first gets the Touch the Pavement trophy. Okay? Okay. We will have some further announcements about the outings in our session after breakfast. So we're going to go down for breakfast now. Please remember our goal. We have a goal to get out on time. It's important that we stick on time. We will have opportunity to talk to each other and catch up in the afternoon after we come back. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Once again, please thank His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, Malini Mataji.